In today's video, once again, I'm going to be quote-unquote fixing the NBA 2K22 player ratings. Yesterday, I posted a video on 5 ratings that I think are way too low in this game for this upcoming season, and in today's video, I'm going to be focusing on ratings that I think are way too high. If you haven't already, definitely be sure to check out the ratings video I made about ratings I think that are too low, and for today's video, like I said, we're going to be going through some ratings that are too high. Like I said in yesterday's video too, a lot of the ratings in general over the course of this year are actually not even that bad. I think rankings wise, 2K didn't do that bad of a job when it comes to rating these players. And like I said in that video too, the people that work for NBA 2K22 are human beings like us, and they're going to have their own opinions about the NBA and what players should be rated. So we do have to respect that. But like I said in that video as well, there are going to be ratings that especially myself strongly disagree with. And like I said, today I'm going to be going through those ones that I think are too high. So let's get into it. The first player I'm going to be discussing here is Jimmy Butler. This one might come across as controversial because probably a lot of you guys watching this video will look at this rating and think there's nothing wrong with it. But currently in NBA 2K22, Jimmy Butler has a 91 overall, and I think this is actually quite a bit high for Jimmy, considering what he did this year and especially in the playoffs. And before you guys attack me about how it's only one series, this is really big for Jimmy Butler because last year, the reason that he got lots of considerations for potentially being a top 10 player in the NBA was his amazing playoff performance, but this year his inability to shoot was exposed a lot, and this has to play into this a lot because if teams, especially this upcoming season, start to allow Jimmy Butler to shoot more threes and expose his inability to shoot, that's going to be a big problem for him. He has a higher rating in 2K22 than guys like Jason Tatum, Zion, higher than Trae Young, and also higher than guys like Devin Booker and Chris Paul. And some of you guys might actually agree with all of this, but in my opinion, these guys should definitely be rated ahead of Jimmy Butler, and he actually has the same rating as a guy like Kyrie Irving. In my opinion, Jimmy Butler should be an 89 overall in 2K22. He's still a pretty good playmaker at times. Last year, averaged 7 assists per game, so a good passer, a good rebounder, also averaging 7 rebounds per game, and overall in the regular season, put up almost 22 points per game, but he's consistently had one of the worst effective field goal percentages in the NBA, which factors in that 3 is worth more than 2 and factors that into that percentage. And Jimmy Butler overall really cannot shoot that 3 ball, and last year only shot 25% from 3, both in the regular season and the postseason. And in that playoff series against the Milwaukee Bucks, even though it's one series, like I said, his shooting ability was absolutely exposed, and he actually had overall a 39% true shooting, which is a minus 18 relative true shooting in the NBA right now, meaning it is 18% below average. Like I said, he's still a good passer, rebounder, decent mid-range scorer, and a good defender, but I don't think he should be considered a top 15 player, and definitely not a top 12 player like 2K is considering him. The next player I want to talk about here is LaMelo Ball, and in 2K22 for this upcoming season, he has a rating of 84 overall, which ranks him in the top 45 of players in the NBA 2K22 game that currently have ratings, which in my opinion is pretty ridiculous. He's rated over a guy like Kyle Lowry, and NBA 2K22, as putting him at an 84, considers him a top 10 point guard in the NBA, which is obviously not true, unfortunately, at this point. And if we're being honest, I mean, a lot of fans around the NBA do this too, but I think NBA 2K is rating LaMelo high just because of how flashy he is and really not factoring in how good he actually is on both ends of the floor on the basketball court. And I think we need to consider that LaMelo Ball's rating should probably be at least maybe an 82, and in my opinion, I'm actually going to be putting him at an 81 overall. I definitely think he's overrated in the league right now. I don't think he deserves to be this high of a rating, especially considering on the defensive end of the floor, he's still not good at all. He's definitely a below average defender and has a defensive field goal percentage last season of 50%, which is way too high at the guards position, especially because you're defending the perimeter more often than the interior. So LaMelo really needs to improve his defense to earn this rating, and also offensively, he definitely proved that he's a better scorer than I thought in this last season and a better shooter than I thought, but still having a below average 3-point percentage, below average efficiency, and not even putting up 16 points per game yet. And he's obviously obviously one of the better playmakers in the league right now, but I definitely do think he gets overrated because of the hype behind his name and because he's a very fun player to watch. Don't get me wrong, I do like LaMelo Ball, I like watching him play, but I definitely feel like he's overrated by a lot of fans in this community, and especially by NBA 2K22 here, putting him in the top 45 of players and ranking him as an 84 overall. Next player we got here who I think is rated too high is Rudy Gobert, and overall by the overall NBA community and NBA fans, I actually think Gobert is pretty underrated and overhated by a lot of fans around the league. I think personally that he's a top 30 player in the game right now with his amazing defensive impact, and also that he's one of the best defenders in the game right now, and easily, in my opinion, a top 3 defender with his elite rim protection, easily the best rim protector in the game right now, and his amazing pick and roll defense, and how he can literally guard 2 guys at once in the pick and roll, and does a fantastic job of also guarding the actual guard that's in the pick and roll. And overall, his defense is just fantastic, and you need to watch games to see just how good his defense is. But NBA 2K22 has him at an 88 overall. So according to these ratings alone, he is the 3rd best center in the NBA right now, and I think most of us can agree that Karl-Anthony Towns and Bam Adebayo are a little bit better than Rudy Gobert. I think Gobert's a top 5 center in the NBA, but not top 3, and Karl-Anthony Towns is rated at an 87 overall. Putting Rudy over Karl-Anthony Towns really does not make that much sense for me with the gap when it comes to scoring. And also Bam Adebayo is an 86 overall, and he was in the video I made about 2K ratings that are too low, but even here, putting Gobert 2 ratings above a guy like Bam Adebayo is, in my opinion, quite ridiculous. And I think, in my opinion, Rudy Gobert has to be an 86 overall here. He definitely has an underrated impact offensively with his screening ability, his ability to be a lob threat, and clean up the glass and be a very good rebounder, and one of the best defensive players in the league, but he's still nothing special offensively. Obviously, he can't shoot the ball, and other than screening and being a lob threat, he doesn't provide much value offensively, and I really don't see how he can be in the consideration of being like a top 20 player in the game when he has this type of offense, and I really don't see how he's better than Karl-Anthony Towns and Bam Adebayo. Some of us may have different opinions on Rudy Gobert, and I think that he is pretty underrated by the community, but I don't see how he can be an 88 overall in this game and over guys like Bam and Cat. The next player I think is rated too high is John Wall, and right now in NBA 2K22 he's rated as an 83 overall, and I think this is a classic example of 2K being addicted to the past and not wanting to put a player who used to be elite that low. But it's pretty clear, at least in my opinion, that John Wall definitely has a little bit of a rating here that is too high, as he has the same rating as guys like Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry, Gordon Hayward, and D'Angelo Russell, and even a guy like Christian Wood who's on his team, and Christian Wood is clearly the best player on this Rockets team right now. Honestly, in my opinion, it might be between him and KPJ, but John Wall is definitely not the best player on the Houston Rockets right now, and he is rated as that, as an 83 overall, and I think that his rating should be probably an 81 overall. He just doesn't have that same juice that he used to have, unfortunately, coming off of that injury. He's not nearly as good a scorer. He doesn't have nearly as much impact as that point guard. Isn't a great defender right now. Is still a pretty good playmaker and overall scorer, but at this point, saying he's tied for the best player on the Rockets is simply not true in my opinion, and he just really does not have that same impact he used to have with the Washington Wizards, and I think it should be pretty clear that he should be around that 81 overall range. And lastly, we got Shake Milton, who is rated right now as an 83 overall. And this one's pretty much just common sense here. I mean, again, having the same rating as Pascal Siakam, Gordon Hayward, Kyle Lowry, Derrick Rose, Christian Wood, D'Angelo Russell. I mean, this is simply just not right for Shake Milton. He is not an 83 overall, unfortunately, and I think Shake is one of those guys too that's kind of underrated by the overall community, but for some reason here 2K is really overrating him. I don't know if this is just like insane recency bias from some of the games that he had in the NBA playoffs where he was good, but overall, Shake Milton over the course of the entire season last year averaged 13 points per game on slightly below average efficiency, can be a decent shooter at times and sometimes a decent playmaker and a pretty good defender, especially on ball, but putting him at an 83 overall, the same rating as a guy like Pascal Siakam, is absolutely ridiculous, and I just don't know what 2K was thinking here. This must have been like a brain fart or something. Maybe they meant to have him as an 80 overall, which, by the way, in my opinion, that should probably be his ranking, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree with me there. I just don't know what 2K was thinking here. Shake Milton is unfortunately not an 83 overall, and that's just a fact. So there you have it. That is the end of today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, be sure to check out the video I made yesterday with 2K ratings that I think are way too low. Obviously, a lot more positivity in that video than there was today. Today I was shaming players and telling them they shouldn't be the rating they are, but in that video I was talking a lot more about positive stuff about the players, so I think that video was more fun to make for sure. Be sure to check that one out as well. Thank you guys for watching this video, and comment down below your thoughts on today's video and which 2K ratings you think are way too high, and I'll see you all next video.